Rain was relentless, mirroring the storm inside me. Alaric, a 44-year-old IT specialist in Seattle, watched the droplets race down the window pane, each one a tear I couldn't shed. Just hours ago, my life had been ordinary. Now it was irrevocably shattered. It started subtly, as these things often do. A shift in Elara's routine, a coolness in her touch. We've been married for 15 years, a solid, dependable partnership built on shared dreams and mutual respect. Or so I thought. Elara, my Elara, the vibrant, passionate architect I adored, had become distant, almost ghostly. Her late nights at the office became more frequent. Important deadlines, she'd explain, her eyes flitting away from mine. I tried to be understanding. Architecture was demanding, and I knew she was up for a major promotion. But the excuses felt hollow, the explanations rehearsed. Then came the phone. A sleek, unfamiliar model, hidden in the depths of her purse. I stumbled upon it while searching for a misplaced receipt. Curiosity, that insidious serpent, coiled in my gut. I told myself not to look, that it was a violation of trust. But the silence in the house, the echo of her recent evasiveness, urged me on. The password was simple: our anniversary. A punch to the gut. Inside, a torrent of messages, each one a dagger twisting in my heart. Names I didn't recognize, pet names that were once reserved for me. My love, my darling, can't wait to see you tonight. I sank onto the bed, the phone trembling in my hand. My world tilted on its axis, the familiar landscape of my marriage crumbling into dust. It couldn't be true. Elara wouldn't do this to me. We were happy, weren't we? We had a good life, a beautiful home, a shared future. The messages painted a different picture. A clandestine affair, months in the making. Romantic dinners, weekend getaways, whispered promises of a life together. And the man Kellan, a name that burned in my memory like a brand. I scrolled through the photos, each one a fresh wave of nausea. Elara laughing, radiant, her eyes sparkling with a joy I hadn't seen in years. But it wasn't my joy she was reflecting. It was his. I didn't sleep that night. The phone lay on the nightstand, a silent accusation. My mind raced, replaying every moment of the past few months, searching for clues I had missed, signs I had ignored. I felt like an utter fool, a blind, trusting idiot who had been played for a chump. The next morning, Elara came downstairs, her face pale, her eyes shadowed. "Did you sleep well?" she asked, her voice carefully neutral. "Did you?" I countered, the question laced with venom. She frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" I held up the phone, her face drained of color. The mask of composure shattered, revealing the guilt and fear beneath. "Alaric," she began, her voice trembling. "Don't," I interrupted, my voice raw with pain. "Just done." She tried to explain, to apologize, to justify her actions. But the words were meaningless, empty platitudes that couldn't erase the betrayal. She claimed she was unhappy, that I was distant, that she felt neglected. Lies, all lies. I had always worked hard to provide for her, to give her the life she deserved. I had supported her dreams, celebrated her successes, and comforted her during her failures. I had been a good husband, a loyal partner, a loving companion. And this was how she repaid me. I asked her about Kellan. Who was he? How long had this been going on? She refused to answer, her silence a confirmation of my worst fears. "I want you to leave," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "I want you out of my house, out of my life." She begged me to reconsider, to give her another chance. She promised to end the affair, to work on our marriage, to be the wife I deserved. But the trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. I couldn't forgive her, not now, not ever. She left that afternoon, a suitcase in hand, her eyes filled with tears. I watched her go, feeling nothing but a hollow ache in my chest. 15 years gone in an instant. My life, my future, stolen by a woman I thought I knew. The following weeks were a blur of paperwork, legal consultations, and emotional turmoil. Divorce proceedings, property settlements, the agonizing division of a life we had built together. I felt like a ghost, wandering through the empty rooms of our house, haunted by memories of what we had lost. My friends tried to be supportive, offering words of comfort and encouragement. But their platitudes rang hollow. They couldn't understand the depth of my pain, the magnitude of my betrayal. I threw myself into my work, seeking solace in the familiar rhythm of coding and problem-solving. But even that couldn't distract me from the constant ache in my heart. I was broken, adrift, lost in a sea of despair. Then one day a package arrived. an anonymous envelope containing a single photograph. Kellan, standing outside a bar, his arm wrapped around another woman, a younger woman with long blonde hair and a predatory smile. The caption, scrawled in messy handwriting, read, "Thought you should know." A flicker of something ignited within me. Not joy, not happiness, but a cold, calculating sense of satisfaction. Kellan was a cheat, a liar, a user. He had betrayed Elara just as she had betrayed me. Karma, it seemed, had a twisted sense of humor. I didn't know who had sent the photo, and I didn't care. It was enough to know that Elara's happiness was built on a foundation of lies and deceit, that her new life was just as fragile and unstable as the one she had destroyed. I considered confronting her, showing her the photo, reveling in her pain, but I resisted the urge. It wasn't worth it. She wasn't worth it. Instead, I focused on myself, on rebuilding my life, on finding a new purpose. I started exercising, eating healthy, and spending time with friends and family. I rediscovered old hobbies and explored new interests. Slowly, gradually, the pain began to subside. I sold the house we had built together, the house that held so many memories. It was too painful to stay there, surrounded by reminders of what I had lost. I moved into a small apartment downtown, a clean, modern space that reflected my new life. It was smaller, simpler, but it was mine. And it was filled with possibility. One evening, a few months later, I received a call. It was Elara. Her voice was strained, tearful. Kellan had left her. He had run off with another woman, leaving her heartbroken and alone. She begged me to take her back, to forgive her, to give her another chance. She claimed she had made a mistake, that she realized I was the only one who had ever truly loved her. I listened patiently, without interrupting. When she was finished, I spoke. "Elara," I said, my voice calm and steady. "I wish you well, but I can't help you. You made your choice. Now you have to live with the consequences." I hung up the phone, feeling a sense of closure I hadn't thought possible. The pain was still there, a dull ache in my heart. But it was no longer consuming me. I had survived. I had rebuilt my life. And I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. The rain had stopped. The clouds had parted, revealing a sliver of moon in the night sky. I looked out the window at the city lights twinkling below. And for the first time in a long time, I felt a glimmer of hope. A hope for a new beginning, a new future, a new love. My story doesn't end with revenge or triumph. It ends with acceptance, with the quiet understanding that life goes on, even after the most devastating betrayals. It ends with the realization that I am strong enough to face whatever challenges lie ahead. And that, in itself, is a victory.